And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American, fight for what's right, fight for your life. When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, you gotta take a stand, it don't have to hide. If you hurt my friends, then you hurt my pride. I gotta be a man, I can't let it slide. I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American, fight for what's right, fight for your life. I feel strong about right and wrong, and I don't take trouble for very long. I got something deep inside of me. Courage is the thing that keeps us free. I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American, fight for what's right, fight for your life. I am a real American.
Hemp Wizard products are proudly used by former New England Patriots linebacker Brandon Spikes, Suicide Silence guitarist Mark Haleman, Canadian actor Jackson Rowe, Mr. Grimm and Noctis the drummers of Walking Corpse Syndrome, guitarist and vocalist Bub Heaston and bassist Ted Wilson of Black Sasquatch, guitarist and vocalist Adam Hines of Fester, Aaron Witzel guitarist of Cropsy Maniac, Roy Boy host of the Licking County Metalheads podcast, Crash Fistfight and Maxine Maxwell host of the Musicians Hangout podcast, Jeff Towlinski host of the Hard Rockin' Sports Show. You too can give your beard the magic touch.
Get ready! Get ready! Get ready!
And that's my cue to start the show. Thanks for joining us on another edition of the Hard Rockin' Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rockin' Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your three-hour weekly get-together. We bring you all the biggest news from around the world of hard rock, heavy metal, and of course, the wide world of sports. And guys, welcome to Thursday, June the 1st. That's right, Thursday, June the 1st in the year of our Lord 2023. Boy, this year's flying by. Lots of good stuff happening. Lots of wacky stuff happening. I had a little late start today. I had some stuff going on at the house. I had to apologize to Jeff for that. But we are on just a couple of seconds late. But we're here for about 2 hours and change of hard-hitting, unique chatter regarding sports and music and maybe some social commentary. You never know what's going to pop up here on the Hard Rockin' Sports Show. So sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself. And I guess smoke them if you got them. And you got any comments, throw them up there. We'd love to have you comment along the way. It's one of the best parts of doing the show. So let's kick it off. Let's get this show started. And no better way to do that I'm gonna share this with my boy Jeff, though. I have to share something first. Hold on. Before I bring Jeff on, I want him to know how my day went. So let me bring this up and play a little something for you.
Factory in the world mixes its chocolate by waterfall. But it's the only way if you want it just right.
Grandpa, look over there across the river. They're little.
Who makes the chocolate?
I never saw anybody with an funny looking people, huh?
It must be. Well, of course it is.
Wonka, I am a teacher of geography.
And the poor little Oompa Loompas were so and think nothing of it. Nas Wangers and.
Save some room for later.
Augustus, please, don't do that. My chocolate must never be touched by human hands. Please, don't do that. Don't do that. You're contaminating my entire river. Please, I beg you, Augustus.
Boy.
My chocolate! My chocolate! My beautiful chocolate!
Don't just stand there. Do something.
Help. Police. Murder.
Quick, let's describe this.
What's happening to him?
It looks like he's drowning.
Dive in, save him.
Oh, it's too late.
Too late.
He's had it now. The suction's got him.
Augustus, come back. Where is he?
Watch the pipe.
How long is he going to stay down, Daddy?
He can't swim.
There's no better time to learn.
There's his coat going up the pipe.
Call a plumber.
Stuck in the pipe there, isn't he, Wonka? It's his stomach that's done that.
He's blocking all the chocolate.
Oh, what happens now? Oh, the pressure will get him out. Terrific pressure is building up behind the blockage. Oh, yeah.
Wonder how long it's going to take him to push through.
The suspense is terrible.
He's going to get this time.
I hope it'll last.
Go on, boy, go on.
This is terrible.
He'll never get out.
Yes, he will, Charlie. Watch. Remember you once asked me how a bullet comes out of a gun?
He's done. He'll be made into marshmallows in 5 seconds.
Impossible, my.
Well, I just want Jeff to know that was my day today, and he'll get the humor behind it if there is any. And of course, let's get the show started with my good buddy, 40 years, and the sexiest man on his side of the screen, Mr. Jeff Kowinski.
We've all had days where the pipe is one,
and then all of a sudden, it's gone. And that was what my day was like, my friend.
I hear you.
Jeff, I got to ask the magic question. How's your 2 weeks, man? We haven't been on the air for 2 weeks. How's things been going?
Long 2 weeks, man.
Oh yeah, why? Busy work, busy home. Both.
Just things, stuff, life in general.
Gotcha.
No.
I see you rocking the Snoopy shirt tonight.
Yeah.
See that? Very nice. I also see the ceiling fan you and I installed still operating in the back.
Yeah. It is one of the worst ceiling fans I've ever owned. Not because of the installers.
I'm hoping it wasn't the installers.
No, not at all. I think it runs on hamster power. Because when I'm laying in bed at night, I'm fucking roasting.
Oh my God, that is the worst. Oh my God.
I mean, we have the central air on and everything, and I'm like, this motherfucker ain't doing nothing.
Well, if we need to do it's up there, Adam Hines. Well, the Fester crowd has joined us. Love to have those guys. I'm sure Bub and the boys from Black Sasquatch are out there. And guys, I'm sorry I was a little late tonight. I had a little home inspection going on today. I'm selling the house, and I had the home inspector here. I had to going through my home. I had to wait for them to leave, and they decided to roll out of here about 20 to 7. So we're all good. We're just kicking in there. But Jeff, it's good to be back on the air. Lots of stuff in the sports world and music world for us to chat about this evening. So anything on your mind in particular?
I got something, yeah, man.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Came across some music stuff. The set list for the Iron Maiden tour that I wanted to talk about.
Okay. And that is the current tour they're going to be doing in the near future?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe you might like it, but I'm highly disappointed.
Oh, you really? Okay.
Oh,
do you want me to bring it up? Do you want me to see if I can find it? And
I have it right here.
Oh, okay. So go ahead.
I can't of course, I could read it off to you. We could go through it, but
let me see if I can get it up here.
it says the
Iron
future cast
Maiden
was
set list,
and it opens up with Doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and then it goes straight. I don't understand what that's all about. Somewhere caught somewhere in time, straight into Stranger with a Strange Land. A song called "Writing on the Wall," which I never heard.
That's from the new album or the album before. But go ahead. All right.
Days
So far,
of
it's not
Future
great.
Past is the next one. Number 4. Number 5 is Time Machine. Then they go back a little further. Number 6, The Prisoner. Number 7, Death of the Celts. Number 8, Can I Play with Madness? Number 9, you ready for this one? Heaven Can Wait.
Oh, wow.
Followed by number 10, Alexander the Great.
Oof.
Followed by Fear of the Dark. And then they close it out with Iron Maiden. And then the encore is Hell on Earth, The Trooper, and Wasted Years. My question is, why so many songs off of Somewhere in Time?
Wow. I actually have. I'm gonna share it on the screen so we can see it and dissect it. What do you think?
There's really not much to dissect.
Well, I gotta be honest. There's more to dissect here because I gotta be honest with you. As a Maiden fan, I'm not running to the show. So let's see if I can bring it up. So this was
this first Caught Somewhere in Time, first time played since 1987. Stranger in Strange Land, first time played since 1999. The Prisoner, not played since 2014. Heaven Can Wait, 2008. Can I Play with Madness, 2014. Alexander the Great, live debut.
Wow.
Hell on Earth, live debut. Wasted Years, first time since 2017. Are you kidding me?
Wow. Yeah, I have to tell you, I would tell you out of this song list, you got me for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs of the 15. I would absolutely say classic I Love Iron Maiden songs. The rest of them, I mean, listen, Heaven Can Wait's not a bad tune. Alexander the Great's okay, but not songs I want to see live, to be honest with you.
Yeah. When was the last? What year did we go see them?
Okay, it was
before the pandemic, so it had to be
18, I think. 18 or 19. I think it was March of 19, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Listen, if this is the first time that I'm going to see Iron Maiden since 2019,
yeah,
I'm probably walking out after Iron Maiden. If I even stayed that long.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I mean, listen, and that's the best part of the set for me. Iron Maiden, The Trooper, and Wasted Years. I got to be honest with you. The rest of it is, it's a really weird set list. I really am kind of flabbergasted by this whole, Iron Maiden, Heaven Can Wait, perform Heaven Can. I'm a little flabbergasted by this whole thing.
If it was up to me, I would take Caught Somewhere in Time, get rid of it.
Yeah.
I would get rid of that. Okay. Stranger in a Strange Land, I get rid of that. Writing on the Wall, I never heard, but chances are I get rid of that. So the first 7 songs I would change.
Oh, Prisoner at least is a classic. I mean, whether you love it or not, it's still a classic.
It's a classic, yeah, but I don't want to hear it. Come on, man. You're not playing Number of the Beast. You're not playing Run to the Hills.
No, but here's my biggest question. Yeah, I mean, why is this tour the one you're playing all the songs you never played before? I mean, look at it.
Time of your career.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it and I'm going, look at all the songs. Why can't I get this off the screen?
You know what I would open up with?
What?
If I was them, I would open up with Where Eagles Dare.
Okay, again, a classic. Sure, why not?
Well, no, it's just a perfect opener. Think about it.
I agree.
You could play some music. You could dim the lights and then have Nico go out there. When he's ready, just start it off. Just start it off. Okay. I would, you know what? Next week, I want you to hold that picture. I want you to come up with your Iron Maiden set list.
I'm going to note that right there. Iron Maiden set list. Okay.
Okay.
How many songs are we going? 15 like this?
I want you to replace them 15 songs. And I think that's a beat list too. 15.
And obviously, I think, and you're gonna maybe say I'm wrong, but I think order of songs matters.
Well, yeah, of course. Put them in the order that you would want to see.
Absolutely, yes, I will do. Again, there's probably one or two on this list. I happen to love "Can I Play with Madness." I love Iron Maiden. How many times I hear the song Iron Maiden? I just heard it the other day. I can listen to it a million times. "Wasted Years" is one of my favorite. So
Just want to say that Black Sabbath, the last show Black Sabbath played,
yeah,
they played Iron Maiden's playing 15 songs here.
Yeah,
Black Sabbath played 17. That included Paranoid as an encore.
Yep. Wow.
So
this is the future past. See, the thing that gets me on this list, though, Jeff, it's not that they went out of the box with the songs. It's the fact that they went out of the box with songs that they've never played live before. Like Hell on Earth is for a live debut. Alexander the Great live debut. Death of the Celts, another song I've never heard. I can't even imagine I've heard that song. Live debut. Time Machine live debut. Days of the Future Past live debut. And then so many songs that they haven't played since the 80s or 90s. You know, it's called the Future Past Tour. And you know, the thing about this is usually I've gone to 2 or 3 of these old tours where they're not promoting the new album and they're doing like a past show and they're revising it.
Listen, look at it this way.
This is bad.
They're doing Caught Somewhere in Time, right?
Yeah.
Wasted Years, Heaven Can Wait, Stranger in a Strange Land, and Alexander the Great. There's only 8 songs on that album.
Right.
And you're doing what, 5 of them?
Yeah. So it's like that they're promoting that album all over again.
First time played since 1987. The album came out in 1986. So it's not even like it's a 40th anniversary release. Alexander the Great, first time live debut. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's like, let me just see something. That is an 8.5-minute song.
Man, but a lot of these are long songs. I mean,
well, most of their songs are,
Fear of the Dark. All those songs are all
most of their songs are long as it is.
Yeah, now especially, but I mean, yeah, I listen. I'm wearing the Iron Maiden tonight. I rock in the old school. I didn't know you were bringing this up. I have to tell you, this would be a very disappointing set list for me if I was going to a Maiden show.
It would be very disappointing if I already had tickets and I saw this.
Yeah,
I would be trying to sell the tickets.
I gotta be honest with you. So would I. I love Maiden. I would love to go. But I would tell you, if I was offered tickets to this, I would never go. I would absolutely never go.
No, I wouldn't want.
Yeah, no. I mean, I guess listen. I guess most fans who are going to their shows don't really care. I guess I don't know. You and I both know I'm not a huge concert goer, never have been. I go to my select shows and I go see Maiden a lot when they're around. But this is one that I absolutely have no problem passing on. This to me is
for what you would pay for it.
Sure.
And let me bring something else up.
Go ahead.
A person at work told me that they were taking their wife to see Barry Manilow.
Okay.
All right. Take a guess what they're paying for tickets.
I'm gonna say Barry. Where's the show?
Oh man, I forget where.
Probably doesn't matter.
Radio City.
Okay, I'm gonna say $4.25 a seat.
About that, they paid over $800.
Yep, I would
4 or 5 rows up from the stage.
Yep. Yeah. I could absolutely see that. It's ridiculous. I mean, listen, it's ridiculous. I mean, you can get some cheap seats up in the nosebleeds, but even then, you're still paying $1 and change per seat. You're gonna pay, at a minimum.
Adam Hines, I hear what you're saying, but it's at this point in time in your career.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear your new songs. Not you, but Iron Maiden. Nobody wants to hear their new songs. I don't want to hear their new songs. I want to hear the old stuff. And I'll be honest with you, even though when I do my list, there may be a few songs that Paul Di'Anno sang, I don't want to hear Bruce Dickinson sing any Paul Di'Anno songs, really. I think that it's it's to that point now where you play what you have to, that Diano sang, which is Iron Maiden, and that's about it. I don't want to hear him sing certain Iron Maiden songs. I just don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Listen, I have less of a problem with that. There are certain Maiden songs that Dickinson can sing. It doesn't matter what era it was. It doesn't matter to me. But I would agree with Jeff. There's certain probably Maiden songs. I've seen them do Fan of the Opera. I wasn't a huge fan of Bruce doing it for some reason. It just didn't come off as
because
well.
It's not his song. Just like I would love to see Iron Maiden do Killers. Killers would be a great opening song for them.
Sure.
The last person I want to hear sing it is Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah, I'm with you. My only, again, for me, it doesn't have to be an old classic set. I prefer it, but to me, if you're going to reach into the toolbox and grab a couple songs, it's okay. But you're putting that set list out. They better be, diehard Maiden fans, because I'm a diehard Maiden fan, and I'll tell you flat out that I am not even remotely interested in seeing the show. If you called me, you'd have to tell me I had backstage passes or luxury box seats to go to that show. Short of that, I have no interest in, because I don't like the songs. I mean, I love the band, but I gotta like the tunes.
No, I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to see that.
And for the money you're gonna spend, to me, I get Maiden's thing, Jeff, has been always, we're going to do what we want, how we want it, and if you come, you come. But to me, if you're Iron Maiden and you get a couple of shows where there's a few empty seats, you got to look yourself in the face and say, all right, we got to do a better job picking the set list. And why, at this point in time where it's so expensive to go, why would you break out of the toolbox these songs that you've never done live? I mean, there's a reason why you didn't do Alexander the Great live. It's not a great song. That's just the reason.
No, I don't know. I have to totally agree, man. It's a shame.
Yeah, the good news is, if you're a Maiden fan, you probably knew the set list. It ain't like when we were kids and you showed up and you had no idea what the set list. The last few concerts I went with, I took my wife to see Elton John. I knew the set list. I sat there and I could go one by one what song was coming out. Maybe threw one surprise in there, but for the most part, the set list. So at least now, and they announced it before. For the most part, you can find the set list online before you buy a ticket. So to me, if you buy a ticket to this and you're happy, great for you. Me, not a chance in the world.
Adam, you call them obscure tunes, and I don't, that is beyond obscure.
Oh, absolutely. This is
Alexander the Great and some of these others. I can't, the ones that I don't know, and there's about 4 or 5 of them, maybe more, 5 or 6 that I don't know, because I gave up on listening to them, all of their newer stuff a while back. But the stuff that I have listened to, like all of those albums off of Somewhere in Time, I always thought that was a horrible album. And I never had an inkling to want to really listen to it much. I have the album in my phone just because it's Iron Maiden, but I never bothered listening to it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't mind that album. There's some good tunes on it. I like some of the later Maiden stuff. The Clairvoyant, I love that song. Wasted Years, I love the song. So there are some songs in that era that I like. Once you get into the later stuff, there's a song or two here or there. Speed of Light off of Book of Souls. There's a couple of songs off of the one before that. I can't draw a blank. But I mean, there's a song or two that you like. But if I'm going to a Maiden show, I want classics. I want to hear Number of the Beast. I want to hear.
Yeah. I have a Maiden set list on my phone, right? I got 48 songs.
Yep.
Just real quick, I got Speed of Light, a couple off of Fear of the Dark and Be Quick, Be Dead, a couple off of Satellite 15 or The Final Frontier, the whole second album, about 5 songs off of Live After Death, just Mother Russia off of that album. I got several off of Number of the Beast and Peace of Mind and was the one with Rhyme the Ancient Mariner.
Power Slave.
A couple with Seventh Son, I only have 3 songs off of Wasted Years, and the Wasted Years, Heaven Can Wait, and Stranger in a Strange Land, and I've never once listened to them. And then I close it out with Total Eclipse. I mean, that's the classic stuff. 3 songs from that album. They're playing 5 or 6. I just don't get it, man.
Yeah. Again, I can go. I can even tell you. I can go back to the stuff they did with Blaze, with Sign of the Cross, Man on the Edge, off of that album, X Factor. I can. There's main songs along the way that I can get into. Even there's some of the obscure stuff or the lesser known stuff. I mean, I'll go to a concert if they're playing Women in Uniform. I think it's a great tune. Play Cross-Eyed Mary. It's an obscure Maiden tune. Most Maiden fans would know it. Most people don't even know they covered it. But at the end of the day, I want to hear some good tunes. The stuff they're playing, to me, and again, I'm only one of thousands of Maiden fans, but for this Maiden fan, this set list don't cut it. Thank God this is not like an end of the road tour. I'd be afraid what they play on an end of the road tour.
That's a good question, man. What they would break out.
Because you know what the problem is sometimes, Jeff, and I love Iron Maiden, but sometimes when you listen to those guys talk and stuff, it's like they could care less, and I don't think they mean it in a bad way, but they don't care what you and I want to listen to. They figure we're Iron Maiden fans, we're going to show up there. They basically say we make music the way we want for us, and we play the songs we want to play, and that's great, but we still got to pay the money to come see it.
We do, but you want to know something? Keep in mind this one thing too, Tom. They are Iron Maiden, and they feel as though that they're still putting out good quality music. And after a while, it's like, why do you want to? I don't want to hear these songs.
I agree.
I don't want to hear these songs. And
read Frank Catalano's best.
I think the gas is on your stove, Frank. Check the pilot light.
Rocket Sports, that's Jeff. I'm Tom. We're here. Took a little Iron Maiden to start us off. We're going to get to a little Jimmy Brown, Joe Willie Namath. We're going to talk Jets, Giants, lots of stuff in the Jet Giant world. We're getting ready for mini camps coming up. We'll talk a little Aaron Judge, Pete Alonso. We got some new rules with the NFL. Maybe get to a little social justice, a little BLM. I'm going to get to that a little bit tonight. So we got a lot to talk about right here for the next, maybe hour and a half. But we were happy to be back after my 1 week hiatus to Florida. I would make this recommendation to anybody. Do not ever drive to Florida 18 straight hours with your parents and your dog in the car. It just doesn't work. It's a tough move, I have to tell you.
Well, listen, you had the option of getting out.
I did.
Well, the car
I love my parents. They're fantastic. We had a great time together. It is just not an easy thing to drive 18 hours in a row. I drove 18 straight hours on Sunday coming home. Other than stopping for guests, because I found myself just feeling better when I was behind the wheel. I just didn't. When I shared the ride down with my wife, I was I won't say car sick, but I just had I wasn't feeling well. When I sat behind the wheel, I was fine. We got an 8 a.m. start, got home 3 a.m.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yep. Stopped 4 or 5 times for gas in the bathroom break to grab something to drink. And we just drove straight home. I'm going to be back there again in the near future. And I am flying down and I am not driving. I'll drive again one day, but it won't be a straight run. It's got to be, I could break it up a little bit.
The people want to know. The people want to know.
What?
Did you loaf on the road?
Yes, actually I did. I actually had to pull over on the way down and spread joy it was in Bucky Beavers in North Carolina.
Was it loud?
Oh, you know what? I'll tell you that it was. Oh my God! Nobody wants to hear this, but I pooped so much and peed so much on my way down. I lost almost 5 pounds.
Really?
I'm not even kidding you. Like I was dehydrated 5 pounds down by the time I got to Florida.
Jesus Christ. I
have a few iced teas as I drink now. And a good meal later, I could put back 3 of them. But yeah, I emptied the entire system out, if you want to know.
Dude, it's got to be a way that they could like make a little trap door in the car.
You know what? I've said that a million times. If at least to pee. You got to at least have some way to pee on the road. But I was afraid it was going to be my mom. Dude, on the way down, we must have stopped 8 times so I could run into a bathroom and pee. I was so dehydrated. Oh my God, it was horrendous. But yes, at Bucky Beavers in North Carolina, I had to stop and I left a deposit in Bucky's.
Well, you left a deposit. Was there anybody in the room with you?
I don't remember. Honestly, truly can't remember. I'm sure there was. It's like a big rest stop. There was probably 12 bathrooms in there, stalls. So somebody was in there, and it was not a pleasant place to be.
You just had to let it. You had to push.
I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was. I drank. I doubled up on my 5-hour energy and did two of them in one shot, and I think it just played havoc with my system. And man, oh man, Shevitz, I was a ticking time bomb, my friend. Ticking time bomb.
Yeah, I hear you, and I hear you.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I feel it, Adam. It was. By the way, Adam, we're going to talk this week. Well, over the next couple weeks, we're going to get you on for a little while with us on one of these shows. Let you sit in and be part of it with us. I'd love to do that. And Frank Catalano's always got that invite down here. But yeah, it was quite the experience. We had a lot of fun. I wound up on the trip down. I was up 39 straight hours.
Fuck that.
Yes, 39 straight. By the time I got to Florida at 9:30 in the morning, I was wide awake, and now I'm running around. I'm doing things. I didn't fall asleep till probably 8:30 at night.
Oh, fuck that.
I was up 4 a.m. on Wednesday, went to bed about 8:30 on Thursday. So it was a very tough trip. I would do the drive, but it would have to be one of those things where you drive like 8 hours, spend the night somewhere, hang out, get up in the morning, drive another 8 hours, and you're there.
So I myself, if I went, I understand your point of driving.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to let somebody else drive. I couldn't do it.
Well, even more reason that, well, again, that was part of my thing on the way home. But so even more reason why you got to break it up. It's like if you're going to drive down with 4 or 5 guys, let's say you went down with 4 people and everybody drove and you drove 4 hours each, it's not too bad. But just you're still being in a car for 16 or 18 hours. It's tough.
I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. I can't be in a car with somebody else driving.
I got you.
I have to drive.
Yeah, I would always say I prefer to drive. Like my wife, whenever we go out, I drive. When we drove down to Florida, she drove the first 6 hours. I tried to sleep, couldn't sleep, and then that was it for me. I was shot and I was done. My whole trip down was a disaster. So, but on the way home, I just said, I'll feel better driving. I drove. She slept, and it was all fine. The trip was good. The weather was really nice. We had a bunch of good meals. We did a lot of work at the house, and it was worth the price of admission.
Yeah, matter of fact, my wife picked me up from work on Sunday.
Because
she was off. I had to work till 9 o'clock.
Oh wow!
From 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. It sucked.
Wow, that sucked.
She was like, "I'm going to pick you up and we'll go here." So I was like, "Okay." I was like, I couldn't handle it.
Really?
We basically went around the corner from my job, and I'm like, there's reasons why. Like I've argued with people, fought with people, and be like, listen, if I'm not driving, I'm not going. I can't do it. Can't do it.
All right, listen. I mean, I understand it. I prefer to drive. I wouldn't say that I would. I don't have I can get in the car with somebody and let them drive. It's not my favorite thing, but I have no problem doing it. But I can understand your point.
Yeah, I can't. Man, I can't.
Everybody's got their thing. Everybody's got their thing. But like I said, don't suggest it. But if you have to make the trip down, try to do it over a couple of days. It's actually a nice trip. There's it's beautiful scenery, lots of places to pull over if you want to go grab something or grab a night's sleep. So it was well worth it. But 4th of July weekend, I'll be gone, and I will be in Florida, but I am flying this time. So we'll see how it plays out. But we got a couple more. We got a little more to do. I'm surprised my dad's not popping up. He must have forgot because we just went out to dinner just before the show. I was killing time for the inspection, so he must have went home and forgot that we were doing the show tonight. So
how's he doing?
He's okay. Yeah, Dad's good. Yeah, like I said, he was a big help. Did some electric work for me while he was down there. Put a couple things together for me. He was a big help, and my mom was a big help, and we had a good time. We had some fun. We had some laughs, and They got to hang out with their puppy grandson, and they loved that. So that was a lot of fun. So all good. So, Jeff, let's get to the show. I got a question for you.
What's up?
So, Jeff, Adam, everybody who's listening, and by the way, thank you all for being part of it. Whether it's your hero or an iconic player or an all-time great, or even a great actor or musician, at what point do you draw the line and separate their greatness for their craft and them being a piece of shit off of the field or off stage or whatever? I bring this up because I don't know if you knew it last week. Jim Brown passed away, the former running back for the Cleveland Browns, actor, civil rights activist. And Jimmy Brown was, I never got to see him play. My dad, people of his generation will tell you he was the greatest player they ever saw. He retired at 29 years old. He had all the records. He was, unstoppable. Went on to have a, semi-mediocre acting career and was huge in the civil rights movements of the 60s and 70s. And straight in, and to not too long ago was commenting on the George Floyd and all that stuff. And he was thoroughly applauded, Jeff, the whole way through. I mean, every article you read, great basketball player in high school. Look, it was actually a huge lacrosse player. Just the accolades were great. And at the very end of the article, they kind of glossed over the fact that he was accused of beating multiple women. I think one woman he hung her over a balcony. He was charged, but I think the charges were eventually dropped. He was accused of battery and rape on another woman, and had several domestic violence incidents. He had smashed his wife's windshield of a car. Just a bad guy. But yet, the point is, at what point does his football greatness have to be put aside and say, I don't care how great he was a woman beater, he was an accused rapist, he no longer gets that accolade. And let me finish this last part. So I grew up a big Mickey Mantle fan, even though I never saw him play. And Mickey Mantle was supposedly, obviously, a big drunk, an asshole. But you could overlook that his demons were were self-inflicted.
I'm listening, but I just got a visitor.
I see that.
Well, not that her, but the dog.
Oh, yeah, Basil showed up. Hi, Basil. Hi, Sharon.
Hi.
Give me a kiss, Basil. Give me a kiss.
I'll even take it to my one of my favorite players in Lawrence Taylor. Most of his issues were self-inflicted. Drug addiction. Finding prostitutes. Most of it was self-inflicted and never bothered. But Jeff, at what point do we go? I don't care how great he was. The guy was a piece of shit.
Well, you know what? I got to say, one, there's my wife in the background, as you can see. And
I see Sharon.
I've never even threatened to hit her, for any reason. Because they
kick the shit out of you.
That to anybody.
That's right.
But I would have to say there's certain crimes that just put you off the list immediately. Child molestation, definitely. Sexual predator, hitting your wife or girlfriend or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you can end up having an argument and flip out and beat the shit out of a car with a hammer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that I've done that because I haven't, but I could see how it could escalate to that. But you have to, you are in the spotlight. You have to think differently. You have to act differently. There is no way to condone what he did.
Nope.
Him and others. Adam wrote about Robert De Niro. I'll be honest with you. Robert De Niro, I couldn't care less what the man said about Donald Trump. I would still watch his movies because I like him as an actor. I like what he did. I don't necessarily share his political views. And if I don't want to hear somebody's political views, I just don't listen to them.
Right.
Regardless of what side of the fence they're on for me. But when it comes to something like that, hitting a woman, beating a woman, that's something completely different. Lawrence Taylor with prostitutes and drugs. This is what happens when you give a millionaire money and nothing but time.
Right.
They're going to get themselves into some trouble here and there. So I could see how Lawrence Taylor would do something as stupid as that.
Sure.
The underage kid stuff, not good. That's not good. But listen, there's plenty of celebrities, sports, music stars, actors, where I would have to know what it is that they did before that. I heard nothing but bad things about Jim Brown, whatever you call him.
Yeah.
Before he died, I never really heard anything good about him, to be honest with you. So my opinion of him was tainted in the first place. I just was not a big fan of him overall.
Sure.
Those are the things that I heard about him.
Yeah, but again, at some point, I mean, like I'm reading and guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron James, and by the way, go back to Adam real quick. Adam, I agree with you. I stopped watching anything Robert De Niro was in because of his political talk. That's my business. That much like it's Adam's. Jeff doesn't agree with that, and I respect that. I just lost all my respect for Robert De Niro, so I literally do not watch any movies that he's in. I will not support him, and that's my right. And he has every right to say what he wants to say, and I just think he's a piece of shit.
I think the way he said it was wrong, to be honest with you.
Well, you can't sit there and say, I want to punch the president in the face. I mean,
listen, there's plenty of people that would say that about Joe Biden, and people would stand behind them and applaud the other person for saying it.
100%.
I just think that somebody at high profile, such as Robert De Niro, shouldn't be talking about anyone who's the president, such as that, when you can say it a different way and get your message across. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as what Jim Brown has done, that's a different story. That those are crimes against society, man. That's not somebody saying their political opinion. That's crimes against your mother, my mother, your wife, my wife.
But that's the point. So, but now, if you're LeBron James, if you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, if you're any of these guys who are coming out there and saying that this is some great man because of what he did for civil rights, and listen, by all means, he probably did. He marched and he spoke out and he did all of that stuff. But at what point can you go, well, he was a great civil rights guy, but he beat women, so he really kind of goes like it has to nullify it at some point. At some point, you being an evil person, it really doesn't matter any good you did. And you know what I mean, Jeff? Like, so, I just don't understand the whole thing.
I will say this much: as far as LeBron and Kareem and everybody else goes, I don't know how far you want me to get into my outlook on that, but
of course, whatever part of your conversation, go for it.
I feel as though that they're holding the company line, so to speak. If you know what
absolutely, yes, 100%. Yes.
I don't think it really matters what that man did. They're going to stick up for him anyway. It's like saying you stuck up for George Floyd. Like how certain people have. Whether you agree with what happened or not, or whether Chauvin was wrong or not important. But you're sticking up for the individual who had other blemishes against them.
Right.
And it is what it is, but maybe that's a bad example to use, but these people toe the company line, man. That's all I could say. And it's not always a good line. And they're not going to stop it because it's them against us. Regardless of how cool you may think they are, what they do for society and how they say things, it's them against us. That's the way they want it. And that's the way it'll be.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you, Jeff. I think, at some point though, if you're those guys, you kind of got to pick and choose. And while Jimmy Brown might have did some stuff for civil rights, if you're a black woman, how could you respect Jimmy Brown? He was beating black women. I mean, how do you say, well, he's a great for civil rights, but he was terrible for women? I mean, at some point, him being a great football player, maybe the greatest of all time. Some people will argue that he was the greatest of all time. I wouldn't argue. I never saw the guy play, but but at some point you got to go, he's still a piece of shit, and I can't sit here and go,
Let me ask you this,
a great guy.
let me ask you this: when you were at home,
Yep.
okay, when you were a kid, and we used to say to your father, like when he came home, we were always quiet because he came in the door. He was this intimidating man with his big mustache, and meanwhile, he couldn't be anything further than that. And we know that now. We're all men and we're all older.
Yep.
But when you were home, your father came home. He said hello to your mother. Maybe he sat with your mom for a few minutes and then he went and took a shower.
Right.
Okay. Other people don't live that kind of life.
Right.
Maybe these guys didn't come home. Maybe when they did come home, they rammed the double deuce 5 into the curb and scuffed up the white walls, got mad, went upstairs, and there was no gin, so they beat their woman and went out for a pack of cigarettes and came back 10 years later. This was the norm for certain society, for certain cultures within society. And him tuning up a woman because maybe there was no bread for dinner, or there was no ice in the ice tray when he went to go get a couple ice cubes for his drink or his soda or whatever. This is how they handled stuff because this is what they knew.
Yeah.
Maybe your father got mad at your mother and they didn't talk for a day or two, but you knew that you weren't going to watch dad throw mom down a flight of stairs. That's just, we can't, but, ask Tina Turner how it went with Ike.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll give you some good examples. You know what I mean?
Not anymore. She can't.
It's a shame, but there are plenty of people that live life that way. I'm sure your wife comes home. My wife came home earlier. I was like, I made sure I was downstairs. Like, hey, what's going on? I was happy to actually see her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most of the times I got to say I am happy to see her. Sure. And then we figure out what we're going to do for dinner. I'm not going to give her shit and give her a hard time as soon as she walks through the door. That ain't cool. This woman works too.
Yeah. I get it. We come from a different culture. Maybe we come from different places in life, and I get it. But at some point when you cross that line and you're thought of this mythical, legendary player, this holier than thou, a civil rights activist, you're out there and you want black people to be treated fairly, and rightfully so, all for it. You want to make sure people are allowed to vote and eat and do things that anybody else could do. But when you sit down and that's your mission, and then on the side you're beating the crap out of women or you're raping women, I'm sorry, you lose credibility to me. So at some point, for me, if Lawrence Taylor was molesting little girls, I would have to say he may have been a great player, but I can't have any of his memorabilia. I can't give him any, and that's what I feel about Jimmy Brown. I can't put Jimmy Brown in any conversation. Now, listen, there's movies that he's done that I've watched. It was pretty good in The Dirty Dozen. He's had some spots where you kind of go, oh, he seems like a decent guy, and then you read the stories. And I'd never heard a lot of them, but I did now. And I think the fact that most of these articles waited till the very, very end, last paragraph, to kind of mention, his past, transgressions. I think it's completely wrong. And again, I guess everybody has a different line that they won't cross, Jeff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Adam, thank you. But I mean, it's the truth. It is the truth when you think about it. We learn from our parents. We learn from the people that we live with, and with these others, the best way to put it, because it is both. It isn't just blacks. It isn't just poor people. It isn't just whatever. It could be any. It could be the guy that was your dentist. That is making millions of dollars a year. It could be the guy down at the grocery store bagging groceries for extra money. They go home. Some of these people are scumbags, and that's all there is to it. And they beat their wives and they beat their kids and they, molest kids and they do sick shit that normal people just wouldn't do. And Tom, you're right. As far as sports figures, we see them for what they did on the field. Look at Ray Lewis. The man was accused of murder, taking place in a murder. He won the Super Bowl, and people forgot about that soon enough.
Yeah, no, listen, I get it. And Frankie, to answer your question, I have the New York Post Saturday, May 20th edition right here. I'll read you a section of that Post article.
Before you go any further, Tom, before you go any further, Frank, I got to admit, I've heard these stories too. So it's not something that he just came up with. He's he wasn't a solid citizen.
Okay, so this is just one article. There are other ones. He was not as successful in his personal life. Married twice and the father of 6 children with whom he did not have a relationship for much of his life. Brown was accused 5 times of violence versus women, some of them his wives or girlfriends. He was found with guilty of crime only once, and that was after 1999 incident where he was convicted of misdemeanor vandalism after the then 63-year-old used a shovel to smash the windows of a car belonging to his 25-year-old wife, Monique. He was sentenced to a year of domestic violence counseling, 400 hours, blah, 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 blah. Brown refused to comply and instead was sentenced to 6 months in county jail. He was released after 4 months. That is just one article, and I've got 2 or 3 others somewhere where it basically goes deeper in the transgression. So you can look it up online. It's out there to be found. All I can tell you is, and there was one in there where he was accused of assault and rape of a woman. I don't know if it was a girlfriend, a wife, or just a woman he met. Again, maybe he was the most innocent guy in the whole world. 5 times. I got to be honest with you. I'm starting to go down the road. 63-year-old guy smashing windows to his girlfriends because he thought she was cheating on him. The guy was just a bad guy. I mean, I don't care how you look at it. I don't care what good he did in his life. He's a bad guy. So I see that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to say is, if that's you here, Jeff, we goof around, but if Giza now, Jeff, Tony Iommi. You're a big fan of Tony Iommi's.
Yes.
Lita Ford. If you read her book, she said in the middle of her book that what's her name? Tony Iommi beat the crap out of her and tried to choke her to death. Does that change your opinion, Tony Iommi? To me, I'm not a huge fan, but
I could say one thing about that. Yeah. Okay, we spent a little time talking to Lita Ford.
Yep.
And she was all over the place. And I'm not saying that Tony Iommi's an angel by far. Like, you should not touch a woman at all. All I can say is that I would imagine after talking to Lita Ford and seeing what she was like in a 15, 20-minute conversation, what a daily life might have been with her, especially when you were lit out of your motherfucking skull like Tony Iommi was all the time. It probably wasn't a good mix. Yeah. I've never heard, and I tried to look up other things about Tony Iommi hitting women and shit. I've never found anything else.
Yeah, neither have I.
It just may be a he said, she said, he said type of thing. I don't know.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. I'm just saying is if you found out tomorrow he was arrested for beating his wife, would it change your opinion? I don't know. You don't know. Maybe you'd be he's a piece of shit, but I still love his music, which is all fine. I just have a problem with everybody singing Jim Brown's praises as a social justice, civil rights activist. Forget about the sports end of it. It doesn't matter. Jim Brown on the field had nothing to do with Jim Brown the person. But when you sing a guy's praises for being this wonderful human being, and the next breath you got to go, but he did beat 5 women. You got to go, all right, I don't care what he did. I don't care how many times he marched down, Memphis Avenue in Alabama. You're beating women and raping them. I'm sorry. I got to tell you, you better march across country naked, carrying a school bus of orphans to get my sympathy back.
Well, listen. I agree with you. Okay, there are people that will separate.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like taking O.J. Simpson. I don't believe he was stricken from the NFL record books.
No,
I believe his name is still in there for what he achieved on the field.
Correct.
Ray Lewis is still in there for what he achieved on the field.
Correct.
As is Jim Brown. So you know what? It is a very, very, very thin line.
Absolutely.
And O.J. and Ray Lewis are both in there for the crimes that they were associated with, and it's like nobody ever exonerated them as far as I know.
Yeah.
And Jim Brown did serve time in jail too. Let's not forget that. I think he did
4 months. Jim Brown, 4 months of a 6-month sentence for not wanting to go to domestic violence.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So not exactly the biggest crime in the world, but it was because of a crime
Sure.
that he spent time in jail.
Yes.
And listen, you just can't. There's just certain things that just don't flush, and that's man.
100%. Listen, and it's what it is. Again, Hard Rocket Sports. That's Jeff. I'm Tom. We're here on Thursday nights. We kind of shoot the shit, and we're glad you sit along, have a cup of coffee, maybe a nice cold one, and you listen to what we do and say here, and we do appreciate it. We got next few weeks. We got a couple weeks before. Let's see. Mini camps are going on in the NFL. That'll be radio silent in the football world until training camps kick off. But we'll be here to brighten your world each Thursday night. So
you say there's radio silent. There really is never true radio silence.
You'll see mid-June to let's say the end of June through training camp starts. You'll see almost next to nothing in the NFL. Time of the year.
There's been always there's been pretty much close to nothing as it is, but every once in a while, not a major story, but there's stories out there.
Oh no! Right now, training camps with mini camps coming up. Now, the last 2 weeks has just been flooded with Jets and Giants talk, and it's great stuff that reading. DeAndre Hopkins is looking for a new home.
Never mind that. You want to hear the most absurd thing that I've heard yet to date?
Go ahead.
All right, you ready for this one? This was 9 predictions from NFL.com. That could come true.
Okay.
Number 1 on the list was Sam Darnold beats the New York Jets in the Super Bowl.
Oh, my God.
Yes. The guy said that it is far-fetched, but right now you got the quarterback was Brock Purdy.
Yep.
It still has not come back yet from surgery.
Mm-hmm.
You got the other guy, Trey Lance, that they say has trouble throwing the ball and whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right now, as it starts, the season,
Sam Darnold is starting quarterback.
Sam Darnold would be in the driver's seat.
Yes.
So a lot of people are picking the Jets and saying that they're Super Bowl contenders without even having played a down yet.
Including their coach, by the way.
Yeah. So if they happen to make it to the Super Bowl, the San Francisco 49ers are a Super Bowl contender from the NFC. So let's just say that the two of them happen to meet in the Super Bowl. And now the whole gist of this article is that some people believe that Sam Darnold has raw talent that was never tapped.
Yep.
If he's in the right environment, he can thrive, this, that, and the other thing. I say there's no fucking way under the sun that ever happens. But there are.
There's been other quarterbacks who've gotten dragged to the Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer was a terrible quarterback who just played on one of the best defensive teams of all time with a good running game, and he got dragged to the Super Bowl and won. So it's not impossible. I think it's highly unlikely. I'm with you.
We have firsthand knowledge of seeing Sam Darnold play and some of the things that he accomplished in his short career in the NFL so far, and none of them are pointing to going to a Super Bowl.
No, I agree. But no, I agree with you. But again, it's not impossible. There have been some teams, Jay Schrader playing for the Redskins. I mean, Jay Schrader was a terrible quarterback who played on a team that was really good defensively, had a great running game, and he took them to a Super Bowl victory. So I mean, I get your point. I wouldn't put that's a tough prediction. But you want to you have any more of them, or is that the only one you wanted to talk about?
That's the only one that I had heard that I brought up real quick.
Well, I bring it up only because it's a great segue. Your coach had this to say, and tell me if you have a problem with it. My opinion, I think 32 teams, 32 coaches stand in front of their teams every year and talk about winning a championship, Saleh said. And then realistically, there's maybe 6 or 8 teams that have an actual chance to do it. And I do think we are one of those teams. Does that bother you as a Jet fan? Do you like that as a Jet fan? How do you feel that your coach basically says you're one of, team that didn't even make the playoffs last year, you're one of 6 or 8 teams with a chance to win the Super Bowl?
I don't have a problem with that. And the reason I don't have a problem with that is simply because I feel as though if your coach don't believe in you and your team, then what's the sense of you going out there and playing hard for him? All right. Every single guy that's in the NFL is there for a reason. These are some of, whether even the worst football player is still better than the best football player that's not playing in the NFL at the moment. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So anybody that's in the NFL that's on an NFL team is still better than anybody else at the time that they went to go try out, and that's why they're on the team. I want my coach to turn around and say, "Yeah, we have a chance. We have a good chance. It's a very strong possibility that we can." I wouldn't want him to turn around and say that, you know, we're hoping to get the 10th pick in the draft this year. I don't want it. My coach that says that. I don't want a coach that says if we're lucky, we'll get a wild card. You know, when maybe the coach says if we're lucky, we get a wild card because it's week 18. You need 3 teams to tie, 7 teams to lose, and 1 team to win, and then you may get a wild card if the sun sets before 8:30 with no clouds. You know what I mean? And Frank, did he say that last year that they were going to win the Super Bowl? I don't remember that. I know I certainly didn't expect them to win the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, I don't remember. I do think he made a couple predictions last year that obviously didn't come true. I don't remember about him saying they were going to be Super Bowl contenders, but he did make some brash, and I'll see if I can find them online, but he did make some brash comments last year about being much better, and I don't know if we could conclude that they were or weren't. Defensively, they were better. Offensively, they were not, and as a team as a whole, I guess they won a couple extra games, but I don't think the Jets were better.
Whatever to 7-9. Or 7-10, whatever they were. They were a better team. They were in the playoff picture until the middle of December with bad quarterbacking.
Yes.
So you can't say that, you know, they didn't improve because look at the year before, Zach Wilson is not an NFL quarterback. And the year before that, he was their main quarterback. He sucked.
Yes.
And a little Mike White thrown in there. These guys didn't do it. If you don't think that Aaron Rodgers is twice the quarterback that Zach Wilson will ever be, even at this point in time in his life, I don't know what to tell you. But, you know, I ain't saying that he's going to go out and win multiple Super Bowls. I'm not going to say that he's even going to win a Super Bowl. But I know that he already automatically makes the Jets a better team. And some people say that Buffalo isn't the team they were last year and that they're slipping. So already people are giving a little bit of a leeway in their own division. Do you really think that Miami is the team to beat in the AFC East? Nobody says anything good about the Patriots and Bill Belichick. You know?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Buffalo will still be a factor. I agree with you. I don't think they're as good.
Dude, until they get beat, they're still the cream of the crop in that division.
I think the team that probably could rise to the top of that division is the Dolphins this year. The Jets have the opportunity. I'm not saying they don't. Their schedule stuff, but so is everybody else's at this point in time.
And you say about the Dolphins, look at what Tua did last year. Remember Tua laying there like this on the field. Okay. This guy's one hit away.
Well, again, they're all one hit away, but yes, he's susceptible. I get it. No, I think if Tua were to stay healthy, and I don't think Tua even healthy is a great quarterback, but I think a healthy Tua or a decent quarterback on that team with all the weapons that they have and as good as they've changed that defense around to, I think they're a tough team. Now, again, if Tua gets hurt early or he's out for an extended period of time, you're right, Jeff, changed the whole thing. But the same thing can be said if Aaron Rodgers plays like he did last year or gets hurt, you know, this could be a failure of a Jet team. I don't think – I'll say this. I think Aaron Rodgers has done everything he can so far to make this work, and I've been extremely – I won't say excited. I'm not excited by it. I'm happy to see it because, you know, I think he has an opportunity, and I think he gives the Jets the opportunity to be a really good team. And I think he's gone out of his way to be the right guy, the right teammate, and it surprised me. I don't know if it surprised you, but it surprised me not only how much he's been at camp around the team, but going to like Knick games and Ranger games and concerts in the area, hanging out with his teammates and saying and doing the right thing. I've been pleasantly surprised that that's happened. And with that, gives you the opportunity for that team to be a good team.
that's some of that is publicity stunts, and I understand what you're saying, but you want to know something? Him going to Knick games and Ranger games, that's promoting himself. That's
The team.
standing up for the team, showing support for other teams in his area. I think that one or two things: either he's 100% into what's going on right now as we speak,
Yep.
and or he was 100% against being in Green Bay, and he just didn't care, and maybe he tried to play himself out of Green Bay.
Play himself out. I don't know. I would say I don't think he had the
Certainly-
interest
I mean,
level.
you're going to
He
leave.
definitely had the interest.
You're going to leave Green Bay to come to the New York Jets.
I think he wanted out of Green Bay. I don't think it mattered. I almost don't think about it, Jeff. Nobody else made any sort of any try to get him to go there. Not Frisco.
So let me
not
ask you.
Miami.
Let me ask you this before you go down the line
Sure.
and start saying all that. I'm going to bring you up a couple teams, and I want you to be honest with me. Okay, you're a quarterback of the Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
Okay, a storied franchise, historic franchise. Okay,
100%.
one of the biggest teams in the league. Okay, now it's time to leave. Okay, it's not working out. Now I'm going to name some teams to you, and I want you to tell me if you're going to go to these teams. Be honest. Okay, to Chicago Bears. You could get a trade right now to Chicago Bears. You're going to Chicago?
No.
Okay, neither would I.
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers. You would leave the Green Bay Packers to go play for the Carolina Panthers?
No.
Okay. Neither would I. Neither would I. Okay. The Cleveland Browns, even though they weren't in it, I'm just bringing up certain teams.
Sure, I got you.
Okay. Would you leave the Green Bay Packers to go play for the Cleveland Browns?
No.
Okay. So, and Frank, you could chime in on this too. That's how I look at it. You're Aaron Rodgers. You could pretty much say, you could go here, go there, go there. I would not go to any one of those teams that I just mentioned either, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go to Chicago. I wouldn't want to go to Cleveland. I wouldn't want to go to Carolina. I wouldn't want to go to maybe Arizona. I wouldn't want to go to a couple different teams. And it didn't really matter what the money was, because at his age, he should have plenty of money. He should want a chance.
Correct.
So if he thinks that the Jets are the team to give him that chance as a future Hall of Fame quarterback, I'm willing to listen to what he has to say. Now, I'm the same person that did not want him a few months ago, but he's here now.
Yep.
So I have no choice but to embrace and be very excited about this year coming up, simply because we do have a chance with him as the quarterback.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Sure.
If he plays like he did last year, well, we have a chance of getting a top 10 pick. That's what it is to it.
Well, I agree with everything you said. My only point of what he's done is there was no other team that anybody ever heard was in the mix.
I know. I hear you.
So,
Believe me, I
so
hear you.
we had no choice but to be excited about going to the Jets, because it wasn't like Miami came a calling or Frisco came a calling that we've ever heard.
Tom, you know what? These other teams, Woody Johnson said from the beginning he was willing to pay.
Yes.
All right. Maybe the worst words he could ever said. I'm willing to pay for a
And
quarterback.
he said he wanted a veteran quarterback. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely said
So
it. You're 100% right.
He's pretty much telling you right then and there what the plan is. Okay. These other teams, if he was a free agent and it was sign him and you negotiate a deal with him, I think that there would have been more teams involved. A lot of these teams don't have the money. This is a New York team. They're going to find ways to make the money to pay this guy. That's all there is to it. It's going to be a nightmare come year 3. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
We all know that.
I think it's obviously it creates excitement around here. The Jets have a quarterback, even if he's half of what his of his abilities from 5 years ago are. He's still a better quarterback than 75% of the guys in the league at this point in time. So if you're the Jets, you have a competent guy who is still got some stuff left in the tank. How well he plays, I don't know. If things go bad early for some reason, I don't know what happens. Does he bail? Does his attitude change? My whole point of the conversation was to say, I don't blame Robert Saleh for being excited. Okay, I would be very careful on the predictions, but I think everybody's excited. I think the Jets can be better this year defensively. I still don't think they're a great offense. We'll see. I still don't think their offensive line's fixed. I still think there's some questions at running back at this point. They still don't have a tight end. So, and Aaron Rodgers, let's be honest, wasn't a great quarterback last year. He was very good. He wasn't great last year. So we'll see.
As somebody who's been a Jet fan since Joe Namath's last year with the Jets, I can tell you this much. Okay, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid simply because this is what they're giving me. I have no choice. Okay, absolutely. That's one thing. Yep. Second of all, you have to look at it this way too. Okay, if this is the closest that we've come to even thinking about a Super Bowl since the Jets played the Steelers, what, 10, 12 years ago at this point in time, maybe more. We sat and watched teams with Geno Smith and Mike Vick who, like, it was painful, man. It was painful to watch Geno Smith sit there and hand the ball off an entire game because his coach knew that he couldn't throw the fucking ball. His coach ran the ball every fucking play. Every play.
Yeah.
He knew that his quarterback was incapable of throwing the ball. And you know, is it exciting to know that you have somebody that you said is better than most of the people on now in the league? Yeah, but you know, he does have to play. He does have to deliver. But I can't turn around and say, you know, this team's going to go 7-9 again. I have to assume that, you know, they're in it. They're going to do the right thing and they're going to win.
Listen,
and you're right, Frank. I might be, but I have to at this point in time. I have to because, well, let's see what happens after the first month of the season. We'll know exactly which way this team is going to go. You know that.
Yeah, listen, I would agree. I think this Jet team will be in the mix. I don't know. Are they going to be 4 games better than they were last year with the new quarterback? It's possible. Yeah, I can tell you there's probably 3 games off the top of my head that they lost because they had terrible quarterback play last year. So if I was a Jet fan, I'd be excited too. I think the difference between here's the thing I'll say. I would be excited about both New York teams for different reasons. I think the Jets are ready to win or capable of winning right now or maybe this year or next year. The Giants, I don't think they're there yet, but what I like about the Giants is I think the Giants are built to win over the next 4, 5, or 6 years, where I think the Jets are all in right now. Because if Rodgers doesn't work, the Jets have to find a quarterback. And now you're starting that process over. And now you're into some of these guys' second contracts. And you know how that goes, Jeff. But so I'm excited for both teams for different reasons. I think the Jets have a better chance than the Giants to win the Super Bowl this year or next. But it wouldn't surprise me if either team went either direction because that's football nowadays. You know?
Of course.
Quentin Williams is still not signed. Is he going to get signed? He's absolutely going to get signed. It makes no sense to me that he's not. There's 3 other guys who basically are in the same age bracket and the same talent level, just got signed. The money's there. It's a matter of, you know, I don't understand either he's asking for an exorbitant amount of money or the Jets are penny pitching, and I can't imagine. He's their best player. He's a top 3 defensive lineman, so you want to see him in camp sooner than later. You know, but I'll guarantee he'll get there. This Jet team will be good this year. How good? Tough division. I think the Patriots are going to be better. I think Buffalo's still Buffalo, and I think Miami's better. I don't think anybody in that division is walking over anybody else. That's my opinion.
I got to be honest with you. I think that it's Buffalo, Jets, Miami, Patriots.
Yeah, it could be very possible.
I think the distance between the Jets and the Bills is about the same as it is between the Dolphins and the Jets. But I think that there's a bigger line between the Dolphins and the Bills than there is Bills and Jets.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I still think I think Buffalo's still the best team because they have the best quarterback in that division. So I still think they're the best team in that division at this moment. But their window is quickly shutting on them, and they need to win sooner than later. I think they missed their opportunity 2 years ago. I think that retooling is tough right now, but they still have the best quarterback in that division. Probably. I don't know. You can argue him or Mahomes in the league, certainly in the AFC. So It'll be interesting. But my original point is the one I'll end it with. I'm if you're a Jet fan or a football fan, you got to be excited for the fact that Aaron Rodgers at least came in and embraced this thing and really seems to be happy to be here. And I think he's excited to see what happens. And I think it's going to be fun. I think if he stays healthy and they can keep him upright, they're a tough team. But I still have no faith in any of that offensive tackle that they're trying to trot out there right now. And if they think Mekhi Becton's going to come back and all of a sudden become this great football player, and to Saleh's credit, good for him. He said basically he's got to fight for a spot. But George Font and Brown and him, take your pick. I just a turnstile as far as I can see.
They just signed somebody from the they just signed somebody, a tackle that was let go by the Patriots.
Yes, that is correct. But
I'll be the first one to tell you if the Patriots let somebody go.
Bill Belichick is the guy you want to watch. If Bill Belichick gave up on you, you ain't got much left in the tank. That's the way I always look at it. So, but listen,
hard to disagree that at all. We've seen it happen too many times.
100%.
Belichick has a knack for knowing when to let go of these guys.
100%. Yeah. He has a knack for not paying people big money when he thinks their talent level's gone. He's great that way. So pay attention. But listen, it's football still out. The mini camps are coming up in the next couple of weeks. Lots of stuff that we're going to have to talk about. We still have Saquon hasn't signed his franchise tag. Quentin Williams is still holding out. DeAndre Hopkins is looking for a home. The rumors are Cleveland or Baltimore. We'll see. I don't know where he's going to go, but the Jets don't seem to be done. And the one thing I'll say about Rodgers, here's my only problem with Rodgers. And, he was complaining that he didn't have enough weapons where he was, yet dragged at least two of his weapons that he didn't necessarily supposedly like in Lazard and Randall Cobb and brought them here. So I'm a little confused. He was upset that these guys were there with him. He wanted better players, yet brought them here. Again, I think Randall Cobb is just a filler piece at this point. Lazard, he had some moments. I think the guy's a decent third receiver. They're banking on Wilson taking it to the next level, and we'll see where it goes from there. But it's going to be a fun summer. It's going to be a great winter watching football around here because if they're good, Jeff's going to be happy, and if they're bad, he's going to be miserable, and I'm going to be ripping them apart. So that's the good part.
So you better hope that your guys do the right thing.
My team, I ain't worried about my team. My team's going to be fine this year. My team's going to be fine. My coach, top notch. We had a great draft. We had good free agent signings. We're going to be. I'm not saying we're Super Bowl bound. We're going to playoffs again, and we will do a little damage, and we're setting ourselves up for the future. But real quick, I do want to get a little. I have to have some fun with this one. Everybody watching the BLM. Okay, they gave out $30 million of the $90 million they took in. So all of you people who thought it was a great idea to back BLM and their cause, the only cause they did was to make sure that they pocketed a lot of money, gave it to a lot of their friends and family, and basically gave only a small piece of the money they collected, and then basically shut the doors. So, I just want to say, I told you so, I told you so, and I told you so. And if you gave money to them, I hope it was a lot, and I hope you're choking on it. Sorry, Jeff.
I don't know anybody in my life that would give them money, man.
Me either, but you'd be surprised how many, Jeff, they were able to collect $90 million in a very short period of time.
Yeah, but from who, man? I hope it ain't anybody that I know.
I bet you a good piece of that came from I'll say your boy Robert De Niro and that kind of crowd. Bet you a lot of those people, were sending checks, So, and then you get the Californians and some of them New York City people, and they just walking around with some sort of guilt for some reason, and they want to give away their money to make themselves feel better. But just so you know, they took it. They took planes. They bought these party houses. I couldn't be happier. The only thing that would make me even happier right now is if they arrested every one of them, threw them all in jail, and then took the money and pissed on it. That would make me even better. That would make me feel even better, Jeff.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
And then Major League Baseball, Jeff, they haven't learned their lesson. So do you remember, I think it was 2 years ago, they took the All-Star game out of Atlanta because they said that because Georgia had basically racist voting rights. You couldn't, black people weren't allowed to vote. They frowned on black people voting, and they moved the All-Star game from there, where they were supposed to honor Hank Aaron, by the way, and moved it to Colorado to like this ultra-white city. So now the Dodgers have hired, let me get the name right here. Hold on a second. The Dodgers have if the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, you have a new normal, blah, 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 blah. The Dodgers, for some reason, think inviting this Catholic offending trans queer advocacy group to its annual gay pride parade celebration. So basically, this is a group of people that hate Catholics. Now, for some reason, you and I are both Catholic. You went to Catholic school growing up. So did I. For some reason, it used to be for a while after 9/11, the Muslims, Jewish people have been persecuted and prosecuted, whatever you want to call it, for years. And you're not allowed to bash anybody, but you can do it to Catholics for some reason. Nowadays, it's okay. If you're a Catholic, you're a bad guy for some reason. And the Dodgers have basically invited this group of transgender or whatever they are to perform at different events. And it's pissing a lot of people, especially people who are white Catholics like ourselves. And, for me, I say the same thing. Like, there's a whole thing about Target. They had these children's clothes with the gay pride flag on it. And I say, you know what? If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. If you don't want to shop at Target, don't shop at Target. I don't have a problem with any of that kind of stuff. As long as you're not jamming it down my throat.
Well, but that is a firm instance of them jamming it down your throat.
Correct.
By selling it in Target and putting it on kids' clothing is just a step too far.
Right. So I agree with you. So again, listen, I've told you this in the past. I don't buy Coca-Cola products. I don't fly on Delta. I don't buy Nike stuff. Okay. I very rarely watch, if I ever do, ESPN. I stopped reading the daily news because they all became these rags that told me because I was white, I was some sort of racist. So I stopped. I refused. I threw out, gave away anything that I owned that was Nike apparel. I refused to buy. I love Nike sneakers. I refuse to buy them now. That's my preference. I don't say, well, Jeff, you shouldn't buy Coca-Cola products. You like it, you drink it. If there's stuff that they do doesn't offend you, that's fine. I say do what you have to do. But if you're Major League Baseball and you hire this group who are out and out just Catholic haters, I'm sorry. I lose respect for the Dodgers. I always thought it was a good organization. I have a big issue. And to be honest with you, right now, I won't watch any Dodger games. I'm certainly not buying any Dodger gear. I just think it's, again, if you're a sports team, if you're a musician, an actor, keep your political views to yourself. Not that you don't have them, but why would you piss off half your fans? That's the part I don't get.
It's hard. Listen, it's hard to say, and I agree with you. I don't. There was one of their pitchers was mad at it all. He was in one of the articles about it. That's the first place I saw it. That their pitcher, Crenshaw.
Okay. Yeah. Kershaw. Yeah.
He was very upset with it all.
Yeah.
I don't understand what is it gonna take for people to understand and realize that none of this is a good thing.
You're right. I don't know.
I guess when they're on a float and they have some little kid that's half dressed on a float and he's being touched, and they'll be like, well, we thought that this was acceptable. It's art, because that's what's gonna happen when they get caught. It's for the world of art. It's in art. You know what I mean?
I get it. I get it. Jeff, I don't know the answer. See, the problem is, and they said it this morning on one of the radio shows I was listening to, and they basically said 90% of the people in the world don't care about some of these transgender things or some of these things, that there's a small amount. And the problem is the people who believe in some of this stuff from the small amount are so loud about that they scare the crap out of a lot of people, and people will just bow down to them to get them to shut up. You know, if guys like you and me who stood on the street when we got a bunch of people and we start screaming enough, it could change. But we have better things to do. I just ignore people like that. Like, I have no interest. Like, so, you know, say what you want. I'll just disappear from your life, your existence. Correct, Adam. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, and their wheel's squeakier than us.
The sad part of it all is that while people are turning around and saying, "Oh, I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that." I'm not saying I'm out there protesting it, but it's getting to the point where it's consuming everything.
Yeah.
It consumes every aspect of life, and sooner or later, it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late.
Yes.
And by the time it's too late, you know, like Joe Biden picking these fucking freaks to be in his cabinet and to be leaders in the government is just a way to appease the people that are pushing it, instead of saying, no, I'm got to take the best person for the job, not the best thing for the job.
Yeah, I mean, he had a guy, and I think it was a person who dressed cross-dressed, and the guy's in his cabinet, and he was arrested multiple times for stealing people's luggage.
Yeah,
can you imagine that this is a guy in the president's, you know, he's got the president's ear, and this is a guy, you know, what you do in your personal life, I could care less. You want to dress, if you're a man, you want to dress as a woman you want to dress as a man, it don't bother me. I could care less. You're not coming to my house. We're not hanging out. I really could care less. Live your life. But when you're acting the fool and you're robbing people of their, and not once, not twice, and you're in the cabinet of the U.S. president, you know, again, if you voted for Joe Biden, God bless you. I hope you're happy. Take a look what you got. You know, he's a joke. I remember my brother telling me, "Yo, Trump's not respected. People hate him. You know, Joe Biden's going to restore, you know, pride to the presidency." If you've seen pride anywhere, let me know, because I think pride left about 2 years ago.
Oh, there's no pride there.
Yeah, it's just the most ridiculous. It can't get more ridiculous. Here's a guy, the debt ceiling. We have all sorts of issues going on, and the guy just took off for Camp David for 2 months, whatever it is. It's just, and now they're going to trot him out again. They're going to trot him out again because they got nobody else to run, and all they're hoping for is that enough people don't like DeSantis or Trump, and they'll vote for him. And if you vote for him again, God bless you. You know, I can't tell you who to vote for, and it's not the show that we do here. But I would vote for a garbage can before I vote for a Democrat at this point in time. But that's just me. But again, Jeff and Tom here on a Thursday night. Looking forward to another few minutes of the show. Glad you guys have been hanging out with us. But it feels good to be back on the air tonight. I was actually debating doing a show last week. If the trip wasn't as horrendous as it was, we probably would have Thursday night. In fact, to the point where I forgot it was Thursday. You had to remind me. I had no idea at that point it was Thursday, and I was like, I can't do it. I was afraid I was going to fall asleep during the show.
Well, listen, it happened. I've fallen asleep during the show before. It's happened.
Very true. Hey, Jeff, one thing I saw online this week was KK Downing looked back and said, you know what? The U.S. Festival, I would love to do that all over again. And I thought about that. And I would think that's got to be top 3 to 5 concert moments, experiences of all time. Like if you took Judas Priest's U.S. Festival performance, you ever seen that? Have you ever watched that?
No.
Oh, one of just iconic. I mean, Hot Day, you know, Halford comes flying out in the motorcycle, 100,000 people. The place is just, you know, they talk about Van Halen's performance. I got to be honest with you, I didn't think Van Halen's performance was great that day. I thought Triumph had a great performance, but I think what I'm getting at, maybe you get a chance this week, your YouTube, and it's out there for everybody to see. But along with Queen's Live Aid performance, which I think to me is still probably the gold standard of concert performances. I mean, again, I wasn't there live. I remember it. I have it on DVD. I've watched it a few times. I think it's one of the top 2 or 3 iconic concert moments, especially for a hard rock and metal band. So I would love to see them do another U.S. festival. They do these festivals all over the place. I think they should kind of pay-per-view them. I would love to watch some. They have one coming up in California. Maiden's going to be playing. Ozzy's playing. There's a whole bunch of hard rock and metal bands. And I pay-per-view it. I would see it. I mean, I don't know why they don't do that. But I would love to see a redo of the old U.S. festival. If you ever get a chance, I have the DVD. Try to get some of the performances. I mean, Triumph's performance, Priest. There's a bunch of again. I didn't think Van Halen's was very good, but that's a great concert. If you never saw it,
Tom, I got to run in the other room real quick.
Nice.
Take a squirt. I'll be right back.
All right, Jeff and Tommy, Hard Rock and Sports. Talk a little. This week, by the way, while Jeff's away, he's not much of a baseball fan, so there's been a lot of chatter in the New York area about who's the best player. Is it Aaron Judge? Is it Pete Alonso? And Frankie, if you're still listening, I think Pete Alonso is a heck of a slugger. He's nowhere near as good as Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, by far, is the better player. I mean, just overall, as a hitter, he's a better player. There's not much difference as a slugger. You want to give Pete Alonso is a better home run hitter. I'll give it to you. I won't argue it, but I'll take Judge 10 times as a hitter. Adam, and again, as far as playing the field, Pete Alonso is at subpar or average at best first baseman, where Aaron Judge is a damn good outfielder and certainly one of the better right fielders in the game. So, yeah, it's been. I don't know if you've been listening to the Fan all week, Frankie, but it's been a huge topic since Sunday about Pete Alonso versus Aaron Judge. And again, I get that you're kind of trying to come up with content, but boy, oh boy, if you're a baseball fan and you can't tell me that Aaron Judge is just a better player. Now you can tell me I'd rather Pete Alonso. He stays healthy. He's consistent. I won't argue that point. But if you're telling me who's the better player, it's Frankie, I disagree. I think he's better than he was, but he was so bad that they wanted to make the DH before they had a DH, and Dom Smith was a better fielder than he was. So is he better than he was? Yes, I think he's at least average at this point now. He's not a hole in first base, but you can't compare the two players. Now, I've also heard Brandon Tierney, who's on Middays with Tiki Barber and the Fan, talk about how he thinks Judge might be the best player of the last 50 years, and I think that's a joke. I like Aaron Judge as much as anybody, but you're not telling me he's better than Don Mattingly in his prime. It's not possible yet. You're not telling me he's better than Ken Griffey Jr. It's not possible. I'm even going to tell you that Barry Bonds and A-Rod were better players pre-steroids. And those are just four guys. So if you want to tell me Aaron Judge is the best player of the last 20 years, I still have to think about that one. Of the last 50, it ain't even possible. He's not even the best Yankee of the last 50 years, let alone, now again, 4 or 5 more years of what he's doing right now, we can change our mind on that. But right this minute, Aaron Judge is not the best player of the last 50 years. It's just not. I think, so again, I think a lot of it is just superfluous. It's just people throwing stuff out there to try to get a reaction. But you got to have some credibility, and you can't put out there that Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball for the last 50 years, and then I think you have credibility, and I think that's a tough part for me. We can argue who it is, but you're going 50 years. You're talking about early 70s. I mean, Johnny Bench played, Mike Piazza played, Mike Schmidt, Don Mattingly. I could put Pete Rose in that category, but I don't think Pete Rose was a great player in that sense. So, yeah, Griffey Jr. to me is easily the best player I've ever seen play. I'll argue a little bit. Barry Bonds pre-steroids was a great player, a 3-time MVP. The guy was a fantastic player, ruined his legacy with that shit. But easily right now, Ken Griffey Jr. is probably the best player I've ever seen. Trout's in the mix. George Brett's in the mix. There's a bunch of guys.
Brett, really?
Yeah, George Brett was a great third baseman and a phenomenal hitter. I mean, the guy I think he hit 390 was one of his seasons. Tony Gwynn was a good player, a great hitter, one of the best I've ever seen, but not a great fielder, an adequate guy. But there's a bunch of guys. I mean, Mike Piazza was a phenomenal offensive player, just a bad defensive catcher. But to put Aaron Judge in that category, I can't do it. So, yeah, Schmidt was a great player. There's a bunch of those guys. I mean, I think Dave Parker's completely underrated as a player. So there's a bunch of guys. Aaron Judge, 4 or 5 more years. If he goes out there and hits 50-something home runs this year, and he's tearing it up right now. If I was anybody, I wouldn't pitch to the guy. I will tell you, 4 or 5 more years, I'll change my tune. But at this moment, based on his record to date, and I'm going to put his lack of playoff performance, playing well in the playoffs, I'll add into that. I think Aaron Judge is not the best player I've seen over the last 50 years. Certainly not the best Yankee I've ever seen over the last 50 years. So, again, just wanted to put that out there while Jeff's in the bathroom. I know he's not much of a baseball guy, so I figure I get that in there while he's doing his business. Jeff, this whole there's another one I want to bring up on the music and a new album for Judas Priest is popping. Jeff, I'm sure you're not going to be paying attention to that, right?
Probably not.
Yeah, and there was a Pantera thing here I wanted to get out to you if I could find it.
Yeah, that I wouldn't.
Pantera's Cowboys from Hell certified double platinum in the U.S., so it's continuing to grow. Again, what is? Give me your top albums from Pantera. How would you rank the Pantera collection?
Oh, Vulgar Display of Power to me is their best. Vulgar Display of Power and Far Beyond Driven. I'd probably put Cowboys from Hell as their as my least favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, but I'm not a big fan of it.
Gotcha. Okay. The other thing, I've always been hoping. I still haven't seen the documentary. It is, by the way, there's a ton of new documentaries out. If you get a chance, there's a Randy Rhoads one, I think, on Netflix. There's a Reggie Jackson one. I think that's on Prime Video. It was borderline really good. Again, it was just too much of him talking about how he was held down. Meanwhile, the guy's driving Bentleys and Rolls Royces.
I don't see that.
Yeah, but it was an interesting one to watch. There's a movie out. I don't know if it's still out. Coming over a Yogi Berra documentary that was out in the movie theaters for a very short amount of time. Those are 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. Where I tell you, if you get a chance, and there's also the one I gotta get it. I started watching it and fell asleep. I did it on a bad Friday night. On one of my favorite, most underrated bands, and that's Triumph. And that documentary was actually pretty cool too. That's one of those bands. If you didn't get into Triumph back in the day, go back and listen. I mean, some of the, I know Jeff's maybe not high on Triumph as I am.
I liked them. I used to like them. I think you're a little bit of a bigger fan than I am. Yeah, but I liked them when they were out.
Yeah, I think they were Rush on steroids. You know what I mean? Like they were much heavier. I love the vocals. I thought the musicianship was great. I know they just came out. What's his name? Gil Levine. Just came out. Huh?
Rick Levine.
Rick Levine. Is that what it is?
Rick Emmett. I think it was Rick Levine.
I thought it was Gil. Was it one of them? Is it Gilmore?
Gilmore was the drummer. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a Levine. Maybe it's Rick. I'm not sure, but he came out and said that a reunion is not going to happen. They're not physically able to do it. I thought that was sad because I was hoping kind of like a run. That's a band I never got to see.
Yeah.
And it's actually going to be a Triumph trip. This is interesting. A tribute album to Triumph featuring Nancy Wilson, Joey Belladonna, Sebastian Bach, Nita Strauss. That's interesting. The kind of band I would think they would get a lot of that kind of play. You got
Rick Emmett, Mike Levine.
That's it, Mike
Gilmore.
Okay, so
they say why there's no chance.
Physically, they're not able to do it. They're not able to physically get out there and do shows. I think it's the drummer has a very bad either back or maybe it's his vocals. there's something wrong with the drummer for sure. I know that they've talked about it for years, but they just didn't think it would be garner enough attention to make it worthwhile. They wouldn't want to go out there and do a scaled down version. But but there's a tribute album coming out with that's going to feature Sebastian Bach, Anthrax, Joey Belladonna, Nancy Wilson, Starship singer Mickey Thomas. Okay, other musicians who will appear on the album include John Fogerty, Kenny Arnoff, and Bon Jovi guitarist Phil X. Previously played with Tribe 92 after touring guitar singer left the band. I'd be interested in hearing what that is. And again, it's just an interesting. It's not a band I would think would garner a tribute album, but I think they're underrated. It's one of those bands that most people don't bring up and don't talk about enough. I think again, Rush. If you're a Rush fan and you didn't like Triumph, I find it hard to believe. I mean, there's just Rush on steroids, just a heavier version. Great stuff. So and I'm telling you, their U.S. festival performance was amazing. Jeff, you got to watch the U.S. festival.
I have to try to check it out.
Yeah, you got to watch. I mean, that I think it was day 3. Was all about the hard rock and metal bands and Judas Priest performance, Rush Triumph's performance, and you got to check out the Van Halen. Again, I don't think it's great. I mean, I think it's them at their height and all that stuff, but to me, I didn't think it was a great performance. Sorry, Tony Gunn, if you're listening. But it is what it is. So I just thought I'd mention it. But yeah, there's a bunch of good documentaries out there. So do yourselves a favor, check them out. Reggie Jackson, Triumph, Randy Rhoads, and Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra is one I think you'd watch.
I would watch that one, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Yogi Berra tribute documentary. I could see you watching. Good for you. Yeah, guys, if you're looking for a good show to watch, it was a TV show for a while. I think it went to Netflix. 3 years. The first season of Designated Survivor. If you get a chance, is it Keith Sutherland?
Designated Survivor. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, it's about a guy who's like the low man on the totem pole for like this president's cabinet. And every time there's a big speech, like the State of the Union, and everybody's in one room, usually each party takes a guy and they hide him away someplace. So if the place blows up, somebody's there to run the government.
Yeah.
So this guy, which is Kiefer Sutherland, is like the Secretary of Energy, like a nobody. And sure enough, somebody blows up the Capitol during a speech. Everybody dies, and he becomes president of the United States. And it's all about him figuring out who did it, him trying to resurrect. It's a really cool show. It's 20 episodes first season or 21. Well worth it. I watched every episode the last few weeks. I love the show. I'm going to catch the next two seasons. It was only on for 3, but if you're looking for a good show to watch with a little bit of involvement, if you like a little intrigue, a little political stuff, Designated Survivor. Great show. It's on Prime Video. No, it's not on Prime. I'm sorry. It's on Netflix. That's a Netflix show. Anyway, so again, we're just hanging around. Me and Jeff, we got a few more minutes. I think I got a couple more things to talk about. Again, big happy birthday to Jeff's iconic quarterback. You mentioned, Joe Willie turned, I believe, 80 this week.
80. Yep.
Yeah. Again, listen, I'm not going to sit in badmouth Joey on his birthday.
You can't. Even if it's not his birthday, the guy did something that no Giant quarterback has ever done. That was win Super Bowl III. Okay, he merged 2 leagues, single-handedly merged 2 leagues. They didn't take hand-me-down trophies like some of these New York Giants teams did. Scott Norwood, wide right. Eli just throwing the ball up for fucking dear life and just happened to land in his receiver's helmet. Stuff like that. These men went out and won the game. Won the game.
Oh my God.
Joe Willie, 80. Thank you. I got, please.
Oh,
I'm about to say something.
Please go ahead.
Edith, thank you. Thank you for all you've done for me, the fans, the world of football. Thank you, Joe.
You done? You don't even done because I got sick. I actually threw up in my own mouth. I had to swallow. It's so bad.
Sorry that you're not feeling well, but that's not my problem.
Oh my God! That is. Oh my God! Holy cow!
Joe Willie Namath.
The most overrated quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Yeah,
By
but
far.
it's a Super Bowl trophy, man.
By far, the most overrated quarterback. Now you forced me. I got no choice. I have to bad mouth Joe Willie a couple days after his birthday. The most overrated quarterback.
Because you're not a believer.
Oh my God, this is the most overrated quarterback in the history of the game. But that's okay.
Please.
If you're happy, I'm happy. How's that?
You don't have to be happy, man. Joe Willie, baby.
Joe Willie.
Joe Willie.
Again, if you're happy, I'm almost happy.
Dude, it's Joe Willie.
Joe Willie. All right, so Jeff's happy. Don't forget what he did for Bobby Brady. Yes, dude, he did do a lot for Bobby Brady. Yes. Oh boy. Anyway, we talked a lot of woke stuff. Let's see. Aaron Rodgers. What else is on my list? Pete Alonso. Again, this whole Thursday night football thing. I got a couple football things before we end. This whole Thursday night football flex package, where at the end of the year they can move teams from Sunday to Thursday. Teams can do more than one game. I gotta tell you, Jeff, I think this NFL stuff, pandering to the NFL to the networks. I know that they're getting a lot of money from them. I don't like the Thursday night games. I don't think most of them are not good football games, and I think you're ruining Sundays by taking good football games on a Sunday afternoon where people are home all day, have the opportunity to sit down and watch games, shoving it in on a Thursday night, and probably wrecking the quality of it. I got to tell you, I'm not a fan of it, Jeff.
No, listen, we know it's all for the money, Tom.
Yeah.
It's all for the money. And I feel bad for the kids. Some little kid that maybe whose birthday is during the season and his father got him tickets. And now he looks forward to going to the football game. And now they say, well, it's not going to be on Sunday afternoon when we could have went. Now it's going to be on Monday night when I can't take you. Or Thursday night when you have, school early the next day. And I'm not keeping you out of school for a football game. That's who I feel bad for. Or the people that bought the tickets that, maybe took vacation, whatever it took to go to these games. And now they're being changed.
Yep.
So I feel bad once again for the fans, but the NFL doesn't care. This is all money in their pocket.
Absolutely. But just for the sake of the players and the quality of the games, I mean, the Thursday night games are mostly bad. They are mostly bad. And I just, I don't get it. But I understand I do understand that's all about the money. I mean, there's nothing else you could say. It's all about the money. And there's not much there. But, guys, before I forget, don't forget June the 11th, 1 o'clock at the Mount Loretta Food Trucks Festival. My partner in crime here, Mr. Jeff Towinski, and his bandmates, 25 Missions, will be playing the Food Truck Festival. They'll be covering their classic rock and southern rock, featuring Bad Company, Stone, Skinner, Blackberry Smoke, Temptations, Marshall Tucker, Allman Brothers, Hendrix, Black Crowes, Matt and John Cougar Mellencamp. If you get a chance, get out there on June the 11th at Mount Loretto in Staten Island to see 25 Missions featuring my man Jeff on bass, Billy Graz on drums, Billy Graziano on guitar and vocals, and whoever David W. Stoller on keys are. Make sure.
It's, Bill's wants a keyboard player. Guy's a cool guy and everything. It sounds good, but part of the allure of 25 Missions to me was being a three-piece and going out there and sounding big about it. Right. So, but, Bill wants to put a keyboard player in. What are you going to do?
That whatever. Either way, make sure you get out there on June the 11th. I have a wedding the night before, but I'm going to make my best effort to be out there right over the bridge in Mount Loretta, see my man Jeff play at the Food Trucks Festival. I've gone to that place a couple of times. The food is always good. There's always a good crowd. And I think Jeff will be kicking that show off at the 1 o'clock slot.
Yeah.
So good for them. Anything else in the tank, Jeff? You got any other shows coming up? Anything booked for either band?
No, that's it right now, as of right now.
All right, well, I'm sure that the Remorons will be getting out there sooner than later, but don't
know what the status is of that band, man.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that.
It is what it is.
Well, in the meantime, make sure, Jeff, you got to see 25 missions. I don't know David Stoller, so I can't. You know how I feel about Jeff and the Grazianos, Billy and Billy, two of the best people, two really good guys, and great musicians. I'll tell you flat out, both of those guys are excellent musicians, and I guarantee I've seen 25 missions in the past with Jeff and without Jeff, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again. So if you get a chance. June the 11th, 11 o'clock, nice in the middle of the day. Go down, have a little something to eat, and listen to some really good classic and Southern rock with 25 missions. So we'll promote it again next week. And let's see. Last thing for me, Jeff, is the NFL's put a rule in now, kickoffs. So if you fair catch a kickoff inside the 25-yard line, no matter where you catch, if you catch at the 1, you catch at the 19, the ball goes to the 25-yard line. So basically, pooch kicking or kicking the ball straight up in the air is now out the window, because if you do, all you got to do is catch the ball and you'll get the ball at the 25-yard line. And Andy Reid said it best for me. He said, if you keep changing the rules, we're going to be playing flag football. At some point, you got to just say it's a dangerous game. Play it or don't play it.
Yeah, listen. If right now, to me, if you're a coach like Belichick, Andy Reid, some of these other old timers, and you got a guy that's backed up to the, between the 10 and the 1 yard line, and he starts to run it out, you're probably salivating for this guy to come to the sideline so you could tell him he's not ever going out on the field in that uniform again.
Oh, yeah.
For committing such a blunder when you just lost X amount of yards. You didn't gain anything. You lost everything. So, I mean, if I was the coach, it could be on the 24-yard line. Fucking put your hand up, man. We're getting to the 25.
Yeah. Again, I think at some point, just eliminate the kickoff altogether and put the ball at the 25-yard line and that's it. Be done with it. I mean, because you're basically taking the fight out of it. I happen to like the XFL rules or whatever rules that everybody you're not allowed to run. They're basically 5 yards apart. You can't move until the guy catches the ball. I think that's a better system for it. I also like forget about the onside kick, and you get a chance, one play, 4th and 19, your own end of the field. I like those kind of rules. I think it's interesting. But at some point, we're playing flag football. We're playing some sort of version of video football, and you're changing the game. I'll say it once. I'll say it again. You want to play the game, make $3 million or better a year, great. Do yourself a favor and deal with it. Otherwise, go get a job making burgers at McDonald's or wherever it is you're qualified for. Because, Jeff, if they're taking the aggression out of the game.
Well, you know what? I understand you're paying players a lot of money. A lot of these players are very valuable.
Sure.
So you want to keep them safe and everything else. I can understand that. But some of these rules that the XFL and the USFL have come up with this 4th and 19, for instance, that you just said that you like.
Yep.
I hate that idea.
I know you do.
That is so stupid. That is Madden 90, 2023 rules. I don't like it. Just play the game. Wherever the ball ends up, just play the ball. That's it. If you start doing that, then, like you said, you might as well eliminate the field forever. You might as well make it an 80-yard field and start it on the 20-yard line instead of you're changing the whole dynamics of the entire game. I don't like it.
I agree with you on a lot of it. And the only reason I like the 4th and 19 is because, to me, the onside kick is almost – I think it was successful 3 out of 50-something times last year. I think at least if you got a chance to run one play, 4th and 19, there's a better opportunity for the play to work than the onside kick. I think when you get to that point of the game, it's basically over and the strategy's gone. So I don't have a problem. I think it just lends itself to strategy. I don't like the ones like the kickoff rule where it takes the aggressive, hard-hitting, exciting play out of the game.
How many times did we watch teams 3rd and 16, 3rd and 18, whatever the case is, and the quarterback ends up throwing a 3-yard pass right out off the line of scrimmage, and the guy ends up getting destroyed anyway. So 4th and 19, you ain't gonna see all of a sudden start to see plays that you're gonna be like, wow, where did this come from? I doubt that, man. I doubt that.
Well, again, though, but Jeff, if it comes down to you're down 7 points. Okay, there's less than a minute left. You got no timeouts. If the team gets the ball, you automatically lose. That they kneel 3 times, the game's over. To me, I would rather say, okay, I'll take one shot at it from my 20-yard line on 4th and 19, knowing that I got to get 19 yards. I would take that over an onside kick any day of the week, because the onside kick, again, 1% of the time is going to work. Other than that, it don't work. So to me, I get your point. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick thing.
Rules for the onside kick, then.
Well, but to do what though with it? What do you do to make the onside kick?
I don't know. I don't know what the perfect solution is, but I know calling a 4th and 19 from your 20-yard line with seconds left isn't actually getting me excited either. So I would rather see them do a onside kick, because even though most of the times it doesn't work, when is a 4th and 19? Most of the times don't work either.
I'd have to look up the percentages of 4th and, let's say, 15 plus that worked versus the onside kick. I have no idea. To be honest,
you're talking 15 plus. You're talking 32 teams playing 16 games a week over the course of 18 weeks, and it worked 15 times. So the percentage of that isn't very high either.
I don't know what it is. I'd like to look it up to see what would it be. I would be curious to see if getting a.
I mean, why don't we have a special section on the side of the field and have Joe Rogan come out and do a fear factor and let the coaches eat bugs, and the one that eats the most roaches where rats crawling on him gets the ball back in first down.
I'm with you.
It's too Vince McMahon-like for me. I don't like it.
Listen, it's fair. I get it. I just think that you get to a certain part of the game, and again, you can easily say, hey, if you got yourself into a position of being down 7 points with a minute left and no turnovers, you just no timeouts, you deserve to lose. That's the simple answer. You're 100% right. I won't argue that. I'm just saying is if you gave teams 2 options, you can either onside kick it traditionally, or you could take the ball on your end of the field, 4th and 19, one play. Again, to me, it's at least the quarterback's dropping back, and you got one shot. Does it happen 60% of the times, or 50% of the times, or 40% of the time? Probably not. I bet you it's 20% or less on completing a pass, a play, 4th and 20, or over 20 yards in general, let alone 4th and 20. So, again, I don't disagree with you, Jeff. If you're going to make a change, I think that's a decent one, because I don't like the fact that basically when you get down to it, it's over. If you're banking on an onside kick, it's less than 1% probably.
Well, we will find out, man. I just don't think that it's I don't think that they know what to do with it, and I think that they tampered with it too much. So now that they're just going to continue to try to new rule it every other year or so, just to see what makes people the happiest. I myself don't like it. I don't know what to say. If I knew what the right answer was, of course, I'd be working for the NFL. But
very true. I
certainly don't think that what they're doing now is the right answer. That's for sure.
Gotcha. Understood. Well, guys, listen, we're going to end it right there. It's been a lot of fun being on for 2 hours tonight. I'm a little on the tired side. I got an early start tomorrow. What's your schedule, Jeff? You back to working regular shifts, or you still doing a lot of OT?
Yeah, no, I'm right now regular 40 hours. That's it right now.
Okay.
But that could change. See what happens. One storm, one anything. I will say this much, that I have a new boss, and he dislikes some of the same people I do. So it's been fun watching him go ballistic on certain people. So it's been fun.
All right, well, good for you. And like I said, we got a lot of stuff coming up the next few weeks, and I will. I got a few busy weekends coming up. I got I have a couple of weddings and a birthday along the way, but between I'm going to make it my best effort to be out there for Mount Loretto on the 11th to check it out.
Same here, Adam.
Same here, Adam. Thank you, guys. Thank you to Frankie and Adam and everybody who checked in with us tonight. Thanks to everybody who followed along online and of course been reached out to me off the air. I appreciate you guys. We really do. We do still love doing this on Thursday nights, and it just flies by. We talk about next to nothing, but we make it fun to talk about nothing, Jeff.
There you go.
Later, Frankie boy. But I'll leave it to you, Jeff. You got anything you want to end with?
No, man. A long week. I actually got to go now and go get gas in the wife's car so she doesn't get stuck and I don't have to go rescue her on the highway tomorrow. So I'll do it now while it's easier to get gas in there.
There you go. All right. Well, while you're still able to get it before Joe Biden and the Democrats take the gasoline away from us, go get yourself some gas. In the meantime, guys, listen, have a great night. Have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. Have a great next week. We'll see you back here next Thursday night when Jeff and I get together again at 7 o'clock. So for Jeff Tolwinski, myself, and everybody here at the Hard Rocket Sports Show, have a great week. We'll see you back here on next Thursday night.
Later.
I'll talk to you off the air.
Later, dude.
Later, everybody. Good night, Adam. Good night, Frankie. Good night, everybody.